Hello guys and welcome back to my channel AQ Knowledge Entertainment. First of all, before starting this tutorial, I'm really sorry for you guys because sorry to you guys because this time I uploaded the tutorial a bit late, so I'm really sorry. So as you have seen the thumbnail and the title of this tutorial, so in this tutorial we're going to do something related to tissues. Okay, so guys, as every time before starting this tutorial, make sure to like and subscribe and also ring the bell icon to get my latest notifications first. So guys, just let's get into it. So as I said, we're going to study tissues. So first of all, what is tissues? In this chapter we're going to learn the distribution, means how the tissues are divided, okay, and what types of them are there. So for knowing that, first of all we should know what is tissue. So what's a tissue? Some of you may know, but some of you may not know. For those who don't know and those who know, if there is any mistake, just make sure to correct it. So tissues are a group of cells similar in structure and function and having a common origin. Means there are a group of cells where they come together, okay, the group of cells, they have the same structure and have function, same in structure and function. So they're same in structure and function. Function means that the work they do, so they do the same work and they have the same structure. And having a common origin means they come from the same place. Okay, all of them come from a same place. So now we know what's tissue, right? So let's go on to the divisions of tissue. Now tissues are divided into two types, that's a plant tissue and animal tissue. It should be divided because the plants and the animals can't have the same type of tissue, okay, because animals or even human beings have a different function, means we can do different types of works while the plant can do some works while animals cannot do. Now for example, plants can synthesize their own food, but animals can't. They depend on the plants again, okay. And animals or human beings, we do the physical works which the plants cannot do. So that is why plants and animals have different kinds of tissue. So first we are going to talk about the plant's tissue. So let's move on to it. Okay, now plant tissue is divided into mainly two parts. The first one is the meristematic tissue and the second is the permanent tissue. Now first let's talk about meristematic tissue. Now what is a meristematic tissue? It is the dividing tissue, okay, it's the dividing tissue in the plants. Depending on their location, there are three types of meristematic tissue. The first one, just a minute, yeah, so the first one is the apical meristem, okay. The second one is intercalary meristem and the third one is the lateral meristem. Now you may be thinking, I have just changed the order, so it does not matter, we just matter the content inside it. So if the order changes, there's not a problem, okay. So now first let's talk about the apical meristem. Okay, now what is apical meristem? In apical meristem, the apical meristem is present at the growing tips. Okay, first of all let me tell you, the apical meristem is responsible for the growth, okay. So this meristematic tissue does the things related only to the growth. So as per the location of the growth, each meristematic tissue is given a different name. So the first type is apical meristem, and where is it present? So the apical meristem is present at the growing tips of the stem and roots, and also increases the length of the stem and roots, okay. So it's basically present at the top part right here, so to increase the height, the apex, okay, the apex of the plant, and basically down at the roots. It also does the same thing, increase the apex of the root, okay. So now you know what's an apical meristem. So now let's talk about intercalary meristem. So where is the intercalary meristem present? Let me tell you. The intercalary meristem is the meristem at the base of the leaves, okay, at the base of the leaves or internodes on either side of the node on the twigs. Now here you can see these are the ones which come out of the main plant, right? This is the main plant, right? This is the main plant, so this come out right here. This one, it comes out. So 1 minute. So the intercalary meristem is basically present at the base, means from where this grows right here. Okay, so this basically grows this part of the plant, so it just keeps growing until for some time. Okay, so there is the place where the intercalary meristem is present, right here, the same and same here. Okay, now let's move on to the lateral meristem. Okay, now what is a lateral meristem and where is it located? The lateral meristem increases the girth, means the width of the stem or roots. Okay, so here you can see the lateral meristem is right here and here. It basically increases the width or the girth of the stem. Okay, stem or also the roots. So it is present right here, here, and also in the roots. So that is the lateral meristem. Now there is another name for the lateral meristem. Now what's that? That's cambium. Okay, so you should remember this. The another name of lateral meristem is what? That's cambium. Okay, now we have done the meristematic tissue. So remember the meristematic tissue is responsible only for the growth. You should remember this. The meristematic tissue, you should just remember that it's for growth. So you should just mind map these distributions of the cells. I did the same. So the ones who memorize or just mug up, it's really difficult to study this lesson, but the one who mind map this lesson into their brain once, this lesson is gonna be very, very simple. So make sure you don't mug up or you don't memorize, just mind map and try to understand. The whole lesson will be printed on your brain, inside your brain. Okay, so now we studied the meristematic tissue. Now let's move on to the permanent tissues. Okay, yeah, so the permanent tissues are divided into major of two parts, that the simple permanent tissue and the complex permanent tissues. So first let's talk about the simple permanent tissues. Now before getting into it, first of all let me tell you, the meristematic tissue does not always keep growing, right? So there comes a time where it changes into the permanent tissue, means that it takes up the permanent shape, size and the function. Okay, so what is the process when the meristematic tissue takes a permanent shape, size and a function? What's that process called? It's just called differentiation. Okay, let me just write it here. So okay, it's called differentiation. So when the meristematic tissue changes into the permanent tissue, it's called the differentiation. Okay, so the process of change of meristematic tissue into permanent tissue is known as differentiation. So this is also an important point. Okay, many of the students don't concentrate on this point, but it's a really important point. So now let's talk about the simple permanent tissues right here. Okay, so the simple permanent tissues are divided again into three parts: parenchyma, collenchyma and scleren chemo. So first let's talk about parenchyma. Now what's a parenchyma? Okay, now what's a parenchyma, that we should know first. Okay, now a few layers of the cells form the basic packing tissue. Okay, means the cells pack each other and form a layer, so that is called the parenchyma. So this tissue is the parenchyma. Okay, now when there means it's called the parenchyma, right? So parenchyma So that's the Scleren Chemo and the Xylem Chemo. Now let me tell you all what are these two. Okay, now when the parent chema consists of chlorophyll, okay, means it has chlorophyll in it for synthesizing food, it's called the Scleren Chemo. Okay, it's called the Scleren Chemo. Now what is air chema, do you think? In aquatic plants, large air cavities are present in the parent chema to give buoyancy to the plants to help them float. Now what's buoyancy? Buoyancy is the tendency or ability of any object to float on water. Now you have seen the aquatic plants, if not in real, at least somewhere else, right? In movies or pictures or etc., you have seen them. Now how do they float on water? Means they don't fall, like keep lying on the ground, they just the leaves or the stem, they keep standing or they float upwards. How does that happen? That is because of the Xylem chema. So Xylem chema provides the buoyancy or the ability to float, okay, for the plant. So now that's about the parent chema. Now let's move on to the colon chema. Now what is colon chema? Now don't get confused between the Scleren chema. Okay, don't get confused between the Scleren chema and the colon chema. It's Scleren and colon right here. So Scleren chema means when the parent chema has chlorophyll, and colon chema we are going to study it right now. So what is colon chema? Okay, colon chema provides flexibility in plants. It allows easy bending in various parts of the plant. Now for example, if there is a storm, okay, if there is a big storm in a place, okay, there's a big storm in a place and there are many plants there. So when the storm hits, many of the plants go right, left, up, down. And after the storm, when you see them, they're in their perfect position, means they don't get braked. Some of them get braked because they are very weak. But some others, other plants, they're still okay. Now why do you think is that? That's because of the colon chema. It allows easy bending of the plant without breaking. Okay. Now the colon chema provides mechanical strength to the plant. Okay, so it basically provides the mechanical strength to the mechanical support or strength to the plant. The cell of these tissues are living, elongated and irregularly thickened at the corners, yet they have very little intercellular space. Now what's intercellular space? Intercellular space is basically the space between the cells. Now I have got a diagram here, so let me show you that diagram. So here you can see the parent chema, colon chema and the Scleren chema. Okay, now here see the colon chema, this part, the corners are thickened, so they don't have the intercellular space. Okay, now while you see the parent chema, they have a lot of intercellular space. That means they have a space between the cells, while the colon chema does not have a space because it is regularly thickened at the corners. Okay, so let's go back. Yeah, so now we came to know the 1 minute. Okay, now we came to know the colon chema. Okay, so now let's move on to the Scleren chema. Now what's the Scleren chema? Okay, let me tell you all what's the Scleren chema. In this tissue is the Scleren chema, which makes the plants hard and stiff. So it makes the plant hard and stiff. Okay, we have seen the husk of a coconut, obviously, right? So we have obviously seen the husk of a coconut. I don't think there will be a person who have not seen the coconut. Of course, it's available everywhere, so all of us must have seen it. Okay, so it is made up of the Scleren chematose tissue, means the tissue of the Scleren chema. Okay, the cell of this tissue are dead. So why do you think they are present? Because this is just to make the plant hard and stiff. So they don't have any other function than making the plant hard and stiff. So that's why all the cells are dead. They are long and narrow. Okay, they are long and narrow as well as are thickened due to a lignin. Now what's a lignin? A lignin is a chemical substance which acts as a cement and hardens them. Okay, now let me show you the picture of the Scleren chemo. So you can see the Scleren chemo, the cells are long, so you can see it longitudinally right down in the right side down. You can see that's longitude, so their cells are very long. And you can see, just a minute, I will just show you right here. So you can see they don't have much space. You can see this part right here, outside part. Okay, you can see the outside part right here. So it does not even have space because it has lignin, a chemical substance, okay, which acts as a cement and hardens them. Often these walls are so thick that they don't have intercellular space. Okay, so these walls are so thick that they don't have intercellular space. Now this tissue is present in the stem, around vascular bundles, in the veins of the leaves, and in the hard covering of the seeds and nuts. So again, you have seen the seeds and the nuts, they are also hard, right? So that is because of the Scleren chemo tissue. Okay, it provides strength to the plant parts. So it is just to provide the strength to the plant parts. Okay, now let me move on back. So now we studied the Scleren chemo. So now let's move on to the complex permanent tissues. Now before moving into it, first of all, let me tell you why is it called complex. Okay, the word complex, when I hear it, it's like it's gonna be difficult or something like that. So let me tell you why is it complex. Why are they called complex? Because they are made up of more than one type of cell. Okay, all these cells coordinate to perform a common function. Means there are different types of cells in this tissue, but all these cells coordinate with each other to perform the same function. Okay, so this is the diagram that I showed you earlier. So now let's move on to the complex permanent tissues. Now complex permanent tissues are mainly divided into two parts. Okay, that's the xylem and phloem. Now this is the diagram of the xylem and phloem. You can see the top left corner. So you can see the first one is the phloem and the second one is the xylem. The diagram is really complicated, but when we study it, it would be easy. Because when I saw it first time, it was like I couldn't understand anything. So when you study it, you will be understanding it. Okay, so this one. So complex permanent tissues into two types, xylem and phloem. Okay, now first let's talk about xylem. Xylem consists of four components that are the tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers. Okay, the cells have thick walls and many of them are dead cells. So this is an important point right here. Let me just annotate and show you all. Yeah, see, so xylem parenchyma consists of these four kinds: the vessels, tracheids, vessel, xylem parenchyma, and the xylem fibers. Now in xylem, tracheids, vessels, and xylem fibers are completely dead. Only the xylem parenchyma is a living cell. Okay, it has living cells. The rest of them have the dead cells. So you should remember this. Okay, now the tracheids and vessels are tubular structures which allow them to transport water and minerals vertically. As you know, as we have studied in the grade 8, that xylem is for the transport of water and minerals. Now from where do you think the plants get water and minerals? It's obviously from the soil down, right? So what are present there? The roots. So the roots have also the xylem and the xylem tissue. Okay, so these xylem transport water and minerals from bottom to the upper side. Now why do you think they are only from the bottom? Because these minerals and water is present only at the bottom. So they basically provided from the bottom to the upper part of the plants. Okay, the parenchyma means the xylem parenchyma. Okay, the xylem parenchyma stores food and help in the sideways conduction of water. Okay, now sideways conduction means, for example, there is a plant. I just don't draw it very good, so this is just a something. So here this is the flower or the plant here. Now these are the roots. Okay, these are the roots. I know the drawing is very bad, no problem. So basically the water and minerals are present at the bottom. Okay, they are present at the bottom. So the xylem takes it upside, and there are also branches right here. So the xylem parenchyma gives water to these sides, so these sides. Okay, so xylem parenchyma gives water to the internodes. Okay, let me just rub it off. Yeah, so sideways conduction of water. Now fibers are mainly xylem fibers. Okay, the xylem fibers are mainly supportive in function, so they are just mainly supportive in the function. Now we have known everything of the xylem parenchyma. Now let me just show you the diagrams of the xylem and tell you all again. So here we can see we have, oh my god, okay, so let me just annotate here and show you all. So this is the xylem basically. So this is the xylem here. Okay, right here. So you can see the structure, it's really complicated, even I don't understand the structure. Now here you can see at this side, this picture right here. Okay, you can see the waters and minerals are only from the down to the up, means from down they go to the upper side, while okay, they go only from the down to upper side. Now I have told you the reason in the earlier. Okay, now you can see here are the tracheids, vessels and xylem parenchyma. So here you can see the structure of tracheids, vessels and xylem parenchyma. Okay, so I hope you saw that. So now let's go back to the phloem. Okay, so the phloem. Now phloem is made up of, again, in 9th grade they have basically given us 4 components, but in reality there are 5 components, that are the sieve tubes. Okay, that are the sieve tubes, sieve plates, just a minute. Okay, sieve tubes, sieve plates, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Now in grade 9th we are not going to go deep into the sieve plates. So for 9th, this we are not going to study. So we are basically going to study only about sieve tubes, sieve plates, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay, so let me just rub it off. Yeah, so there are sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay, sieve tubes are tubular structures with perforated valves. So here you can see sieve tubes, right? The first one, this is the sieve tube. So these are tubular cells. Okay, they have tubular cells, so the cells are basically tubes, like cylinder shaped and with the perforated walls. Okay, now phloem, unlike xylem, in the materials can move in both the direction in it. Now, what does phloem actually do? We have also studied this in grade 8, that phloem transport food. Now, where is the food synthesized? Now, everyone knows that from grade 1, okay, because they are taught about the photosynthesis from grade 1 or 2 basically. So everyone knows it. So the food are basically from the leaves, right? So leaves synthesize the food. So now where are the leaves? They are present at the top part. So not at the top part, means at the middle and top. Okay, so for example, if this is a plant right here, and this is the stem and roots, okay, now these are the internodes right here, and they have leaves, okay, they have leaves here, here. So the food is basically, 1 minute, yeah, so the food is basically synthesized in the leaves. So the leaves may be top or down. So after the synthesis, they should obviously get distributed to the whole plant equally. Okay, so now it should go downside as well as the upper side. So it cannot go only upper side or the downside, because if it happens so the plant will get destroyed at one of the side, and if one of the side is dead, there is no use of the plant. So the plant should get, means the food should be distributed equally. So that is why the phloem parenchyma can means the materials can move in both the direction. Okay, now phloem means the phloem transports food from the leaves to other plants, to other parts of the plants, as I said you. Except for the phloem fibers, phloem cells are living cells. So now you can see, just a minute, yeah, so now you can see the phloem fibers, right? So except of these phloem fibers, all the tissues of the phloem are living. So all of these have living cells. Now only the phloem fibers are dead in phloem. So if we take it in all, the tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers and phloem fibers, these 4 components of the complex permanent tissues are dead. Okay, so make sure you remember these, okay, these points. Now let me show you all the picture. So here you can see, as I said you earlier, okay, that phloem can transport from down to up as well as from up to down. Okay, now here it's clearly written in the diagram, two-way flow. Okay, now here is the diagram of the microscopic diagram of the means the microscopic view of the phloem tissue. So here you can see sieve plates are right here. So these dot are basically present. So they are the sieve plates. Okay, now the next one is sieve tube. So you can see the empty space right here. Just a minute. Yeah, so you can see empty space right here. This white space, the empty space right here. So this is basically the which one? Sieve tubes. Okay, the same is here. Downside here. Okay, so this hole is the sieve tube. Now this is the sieve plate here, this dot you can see, and next is the phloem parenchyma. So the green cells you can see right outside, that's of course the phloem parenchyma. Okay, now the last component is the companion cells. Now companion cells are again right here. So they are also a cell, but they are in this diagram you can see the phloem parenchyma is of green color, the cells are of green color, and the companion cells are of white color. Okay, so you can see it like that by differentiating the colors. Okay, now by this I hope you all have understood the topic plant tissue. Now I don't want this tutorial to be so long, so I have decided to make the animal tissue in a different tutorial. So for this tutorial, Thanks for watching. So I hope you have understood, and if you have any queries, please comment me down below. So thanks for watching. So before going, like always, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and also ring my bell icon to get my latest notification first. So make sure to subscribe and also ring the bell icon. So let's meet in our next tutorial of animal tissues. So guys, until the next tutorial, see ya, bye.